This meeting is being recorded.
All right, everything's working. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Don't tell it.
Everybody. Welcome to the Lunch Bunch at the Spiritual Neighborhood. The Spiritual Neighborhood is a grassroots community project of the Council of Families for Children, dedicated to the quality of life for the body, mind, and spirit, and for the integration of a happy, healthy human. And today we have back Martha Decker. Welcome back. We're so excited to have you again.
Yay! Thanks. I'm always glad to be here.
Everybody clap for Martha.
She's out in her wilderness there. Deborah, do you want to introduce Martha?
Well, Martha is a character.
That's all.
Ow! Okay.
She is amazing.
She is an amazing woman and an amazing character. She is a retired detective. She has been on the Portals to Hell with Jack Osborne. And
Yes.
She has worked with many, many famous paranormal investigators on and off television. If I told you your names, you would know them. I don't, because I don't watch the shows, but I'm still impressed. She is a private investigator. She's writing books. She has written books. She does paranormal investigations. But the best thing about Martha is she's my friend.
Wow.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
And Martha's starting a new venture that we'll tell you about later on. We're not ready to announce it yet, but she's heading up a new venture, and we all get to play with Martha. Yay!
Yay.
So excited. I won't say what I was thinking.
So excited.
So, Martha, how's your book on Haunted Hill coming? Is it done yet so I can edit it?
No, it's there. It's getting there. Hopefully by the end of July, I'll have it completely done, and I'll probably start sending it to you, before then, bits and pieces. But right now I'm in the putting it together phase. Maria is transcribing a 2-hour interview for me that I'm going to include in the book.
Oh, cool.
Somebody who grew up in the house during the times of the alleged occult satanic events.
Was she a child at the time?
Somebody she grew up there, and she left the house, she claims, because her baby that had been in the crib downstairs was somehow ended up upstairs crying.
Oh, no.
Nobody had taken the child up there.
Oh my goodness.
And I've had that verified. She's told that story consistently to several people, and I've had a former boyfriend confirm, because he lived in the house during that time. So there's just all sorts of stuff going on there. Once I get that, most of that interview is going to be in the book. I figured that's probably the best way. Instead of me writing bits and pieces, I'm just going to put the whole thing in there.
Yeah, I think that's smart. That makes sense. I mean, if nothing else, it's part of full disclosure,
Right. And we'll have a lot of photos. We'll have a lot of historical stuff, because it's not just going to be about the paranormal. But there's so much paranormal, I could wait 10 years and I'd write a whole encyclopedia, because it is so active. It just continues to change. And how it is right now is not how it was a few months ago even.
Really? How does it change? What's some of the major...
Wow.
We don't know how it changes. That's one of the things that Kathy would really, really like to find out, what's going on there. There's possibly a basement that she would like to find. There's so many possibilities of things there. There's wells there. There's probably a portal or something over there, because it's like getting a constant stream of different energy where it's gone a little darker now than it was, but it just is constantly ebbs and flows, just like a tide. You'll have...
Martha, I've got a question for you. This is Elizabeth. I have been discussing this with other paranormal investigators And one of the questions that's coming up a lot for myself and for others is that we're noticing that whatever that energy is, the darker energy, that it is actually getting darker than before. I mean, I know it's bad, but it is actually getting dark, dark, dark. So do you think, in your wisdom and your knowledge, do you think that this has a lot to do with what's happening on the planet right now? The negativity, the fear, anger, those kinds of things. Do you think that's what's causing or affecting this energy?
Well, I think it's possible, and I've talked to a lot of people about the same thing, and a lot of them feel that all negativity from everybody, of course, generates negativity, and it's, around the world at this point, there's no telling how much negativity has really charged the air, but there's a lot more things that I'm aware of than I have been in the past, and the activity at that house, it is just through the roof, absolutely through the roof. And anybody that goes there pretty much will tell you the same thing. They have never been anywhere like that house. And, and I've seen the house calm down. I've seen the house get more active. I've watched that for the last couple of years now as it just rises, and it never completely goes away, but the lighter spirits, like maybe the past owners, different people that lived in the house, they'll be more active. And then you go through a period where more people get scratched or hair tugged on. The other day, somebody was in there, and we made kind of fun of it because of who it was and how he tries to be brave. But he was in one room sitting there, and he heard in a growly voice behind him. He had asked if somebody was there, in the house with him, and he hears, "I'm behind you." And then he saw a ball of light actually come and touch his leg. He could feel the touch, and he took off out of that room, and that was a couple of nights ago.
Well, that brings up an interesting point, though, because when we talk about different energetically, active places and stuff, is anything positive ever happen at this house? Like something wonderful or helpful or peaceful? Or is it always things that are really tumultuous? Well,
there's good times with the children. Sometimes we'll have the children play. And when the children are there and you're there during peaceful times, because I can come in the house and I can feel peace in there. And we've played with the children. I don't remember if I said before, but one of the times I was there recently, there were several of us women in the living room. And there's a door that we think Joshua opens and closes occasionally.
Yes.
So we were singing nursery rhymes, and then we did like the duck, duck, goose, and every time you said the goose, the door would open. And then we would ask for it to close, and it would close. And we would do duck, duck, goose again, and the door would open. So we're just having like fun times with the children. The children play on the piano occasionally. And you'll hear little pings and stuff when people go by, or, so you have that energy too. But they died tragically, in the house, but they try to do things. Kathy, we'll say she cares for the house, but she also cares for whatever is there, any spirits that are there. She's concerned to protect her. If they want to go, they can go. If some come and go. Some just stay there all the time. It's like, for her, it's like up to them. It's their choice what they do. But she's there, and when really negative stuff comes in that may be not good, she tries to get rid of that because she doesn't want any customers hurt. She doesn't want anybody to go downstairs, or you've seen stuff where people, they get scared and they run down the stairs in the dark, and she doesn't want anybody to get hurt.
Right. Well, it's interesting the question that you ask, Elizabeth, because I participate in a couple of prophetic ministry groups, and generally up until recently, the prophetic sharings they're always very uplifting and and beautiful. They're beautiful. They're actually beautiful. Mm-hmm. But in the past 2 months, some of the prophetic sayings and sharings, they start out with a little darkness. Now, they always end uplifting and positive, but there's like a warning in the foundation there of things to be leery of. Right. And I've just been, because I always go back and look at my notes from the meetings and stuff, and I do believe that we as a globe are just suffering from a huge oppression. And it's not because of the virus and that. I think that's all a symptom of the oppression. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. To me, it does, yeah.
It does to me, too. Yeah, I agree.
So, Martha.
Well, we talked about this on the radio before, discussing with other people about the negativity, and other paranormal investigators are saying the same thing that Martha's talking about how it's almost, in some cases, immediate when you just even arrive on the property, as to where before you would actually have to go into the house or go, to a specific room or something, that now what's happening is they're beginning to feel it even before they get to the property, that it is becoming that aware. So it's either our senses are being heightened, which they could be, but, listening to Martha and what she has to say just fascinates me, because we know, from before, those children love her. They know when she's coming. Mm-hmm. They get
Here's
ready.
Another interesting fact. Kathy had heard something or read something the other day, and she got to checking longitude, latitude, and because of all the things going on at the house, because she's trying to figure out what's going on. And she's on the direct ley line is like Area 51.
Oh.
Her house is.
No
wow.
way.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
It is. And some people have said, like they have done other cities because of the Masons, that the house that there was like with the tunnels more of a pentagram. And there's places like Athens and so on that have stuff like that, but but what they had said, and she doesn't know if it's fact or not, is that the center of the pentagram where the tunnels is actually under that house. But that's, right now that's just, we don't know if that's fact.
Do you
but
think
it is fact with the ley lines.
Do you think that if some people come in and they're going to investigate and they don't have the best intentions, do you think that activity will rise because of that?
Good question.
Well, so if the spirits don't like them, they either won't do anything or they'll scare them to death.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If they like people, they have, if they like somebody, they'll have fun with you, because it's almost like they enjoy having the people around. They like the people around, and they pick up EVPs, but off security cameras, with them making comments about people, recording. They're recording us. Sometimes they don't want to be recorded. Right. And they notice that, and then they know what all the equipment is there.
Can you keep people from doing unethical things?
Yeah, she has a lot of paperwork that they sign. Mm-hmm. She has rules up, and they do have. Well, they have a lot of cameras there. They have several security cameras placed around that are on when people are there. You see something going on because they're on property, but they're outside in an RV. They will come in. They could throw somebody out. There's people that have been banned after they go back and review stuff that have done things, and they're banned. They're not allowed to come back.
Wow.
You can only watch so much, but they do try to keep on that. For example, they don't allow Ouija boards in the house.
Oh, that's good.
They realize that's about the same as the SB7 and all the other type of spirit boxes and everything. But because she feels like if you don't know what you're doing with it, it could, bring things to the house that they don't want at the house.
Good. That's smart.
Yeah.
I got two questions. The first one is, have you ever used animals in investigating on any of the locations, not just at the Hill House, but any location? Do you ever use animals, dogs or whatever?
I have not used them, but I know that the dogs at my house react when something's at my house because we do have things wander through. And there's a group called Pit Bull Paranormal that one of their trips when they go back, they have most of them have pit bulls, pit bull rescues, pit bull type dogs, and they're trying to train them for paranormal. And I will say that Greg Lawson, who's a detective with Bexar County and a friend of mine, stayed at the house by himself a year and a half ago, say, and he brought his dog. And there was so much activity. He had rocks thrown at him, sound like glasses breaking all over the house. His dog to this day suffers PTSD from the house.
Oh my.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now, my second question is do the spirits or energies ever fight among themselves?
I'm sure they do because there's layers there, but the layers can interact with each other. And there's times when certain things come around, the other stuff goes away because they're afraid of it.
Do the children ever complain about things like that?
Yeah, the children do. The adults do too. That they pick up that they know around the house. They have something called Sid that showed this past year, and when Sid's around, they go away.
Oh, so they just leave. They hide.
Wow.
Yeah, and then later when they come back, and this is through a lot of EVP sessions, and a lot of it's actually just with us sitting around talking and stuff they pick up on their security cameras. So we're not actually talking directly to them, but they will intersperse their comments among, like they're sitting there talking with us. And that's how they found out a lot of stuff, other than what some psychics have said, but they're getting direct communication from somebody or something, and that's what they're commenting on.
So the children are so attached to you. How do you keep them from going home with you?
I just tell them they have to stay there, and I'll be back. There have been people that have had things follow them, but I think with my protection, I have yet to have anything follow me.
Do you think
they're
people
probably
bring spirits with them?
Oh, I'm sure some people do.
A dumping ground. Literally a dumping ground of dead bodies. Yeah.
Yeah. And they may stay. They might like it better there.
Bigger party?
So when you have so many people.
Yeah, seriously.
All right.
Because you don't know who's coming through, what they have with them or anything. So they're strangers.
I don't know. You just every time you answer a question, it brings up like 20 more. It's really interesting. But you know what? The thing I've always wondered, and not just with your investigations, but I've started watching more of the shows on TV so I could be a little more educated about what's popular and what people are watching and why and what they're being taught. And does anyone ever feel like they come to a firm conclusion on any of these investigations, or does it just wind up asking more questions than getting answers?
It's a combination. Sometimes they know, or they say they know, but do they really know? That's just,
I don't think they
how
do.
it is. For example, dead files. They sit down with them, and of course, Steve tells them what he's found, through his research, and she talks about what she found during her walkthrough. And sometimes she says, this is what it is. And then she gives the family things to do to alleviate some of that. But I will tell you that there's some people that I know who have gone back to some of those houses. Some of them that she said, you need to leave. And Maria is one, Elena Santos Kemp is one that's been to several of the houses and worked with a family over, several months or so at a time and everything. so they didn't have to leave. And sometimes it's not as bad because scary and bad's what's selling on those shows right now. So, they go through different things, and a lot of times things maybe, are exaggerated on the shows. Not everybody realizes that, but, that's how it is.
Well, just before we got quarantined with the virus, I was called out to a house to kind of check it, bless it, the whole gamut, And I've never had an experience quite like this. I got in front of the building and immediately I heard, "You will not come in here." Well, we all know you don't tell me no. But it did take me back. And I did sit in the car a little bit going, what? So I do feel like things are much more active than they've been in a while. Much more aggressive. And it was a ride in there. I will tell you, it was an experience. It's not the worst experience I've ever had, but it was one that I was not anticipating. So
that's what I'm kind of taking from a lot of the stuff right now for some reason. There's a lot more intensity, or I'm just becoming more aware, I don't know, or combination.
Maybe a combination. I mean, more focus on it. But, I do think that, if you just look at the science of energy, I do think there's cycles, I do think there's highs and lows, just like the tide coming and going. So it just makes sense. But I do think more people are getting aware. And I think that people, the more aware they get, if they're not well trained and knowledgeable, I think they stir up more crap than they settle. So sometimes that's part of the problem in my ideas.
Yes, I think the same.
Well, good. We're in agreement. I like that.
How about that?
So, Elizabeth, Chuck and you talk about this stuff all the time. Has he been noticing, Chuck Murphy, who is a wonderful investigator as well?
Actually, we're going to be doing a 2-hour special on that very thing about what we're seeing and coming up with and talking about. And that's why I was so excited because Martha was going to be on today, is because I wanted to, pick her brain because she's, doing a lot of active location. She's there. She's truthful. She just tells it like it is. And everything that she's talking about is what we are discussing on our show about what we're thinking is happening, what we're coming up with, or what info we're getting. But the one thing that we've kind of all been picking up on, and, Martha was just a great confirmation on this, is this energy seems to kind of be building, but it's a little bit different to me when you're closer to a portal, because it's like it can magnify some of that negativity, or it can magnify the positivity. I mean, there are places that are positive that have that, but because where she goes is that portal, we just kind of feel like if that portal is open, then maybe they can go to another portal, get energy, and then come and bring that back. And if you got this portal, and let's say, from the grid work, then they can go from one place to another, to another, to another all over the globe and just get fed constantly because of all the different portals and what's happening.
I'm glad you said that about the positive thing, because most people don't think of portals as being positive. And, where there's good, there's bad, where there's dark, there's light. And Martha, I need you to come to my house, because I've had 2 people tell me I have an open portal of positive energy in my front yard. And I want you to verify that. I had to have 3 verifications before I accept anything. So, and portals are not my forte. So I need you to come verify that. So.
Okay. I've been around a lot of them the last couple of years for some reason.
Well, you put yourself out there. I mean, you are on the road constantly. Okay. I can't keep my mouth shut. Martha's on the show once a month, okay, with us, and we talk about all kinds of stuff. And obviously, we're fascinated with this house. But Martha's going to have her own show, and it's going to have 4 professionals involved with her. Is that right? Did I count? Can I count today? 3 or 4. We're going to have some people. with Martha doing her thing at different locations and stuff, but we're going to do this a little bit differently than what you've seen on other shows. And hopefully it'll be fun and exciting. And if not, you can laugh at how ridiculous everything turns out. It doesn't matter. We don't care as long as we're entertaining.
It's very educational. I think we need something like this to teach people out there about the proper way to do paranormal investigations, since we've got a lot of people not doing it right and not respecting the dead. And I appreciate Martha coming on and sharing her stories, because I feel that she has a lot of compassion and love for what she does, and we need more people doing it like that.
Absolutely.
Can you see my shirt?
You got boobies.
Oh, that's brilliant. Can you read what it is?
Cool.
Well,
Brilliant.
well, the other thing I want Martha to talk about on the next show is about how she actually protects herself, because that's the other key component, I think, to do it.
Yes.
Because I want to just be blunt. You know me. I think people get out there. I don't know. It's kind of my job. I think, seriously, I do it well. I think people get out there and they mess around with things. It's kind of like giving a kid a gun, you know, or putting a 5-year-old into a Cadillac and say, hey, you know, drive. I mean, yeah, they may be able to do it, but it's not going to be done right. It's not going to be safe.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of people out there screwing around and don't know what the hell they're doing, you know?
Yeah.
And this is not a religion thing, people. This is not about religion or beliefs. This is about dealing with energy, dealing with spirit outside of the body, whatever your belief system is. And there is a right way and a wrong way to do this. And you can incorporate any faith system, any belief system into this and still be keeping yourself safe and also being respectful of the dead, because they're not really dead. They just don't have a body. Okay?
Exactly.
So
Martha, I know you do a lot of different things. Have you, or are you interested in putting together a class to teach people how to properly do paranormal investigations and to help? And I know there's some places they don't want you to come in and cross the spirits. My belief is that all spirits should have that option. And so, but there should always be some respect for the dead, and people need to learn how to investigate with compassion. So have you thought about doing something like teaching?
I thought about it. There's several people doing that now. And one is teaching them that you're going onto somebody's property and you wouldn't walk out with their vase. So you need to respect the property owner's wishes as well as treat whoever's there with respect too. Because a lot of places, it's not that they're trapped. Now, when I go on an investigation, where somebody's called me in, it's a whole different story. And they usually want it gone, and that's different. And then you have some people or they want the negative. They don't care if the positive stays, goes, whatever, whatever, that doesn't bother them. It's the negative that they're worried about a lot of times. And, one may be a grandmother that's nice or somebody like that, and it doesn't bother them, and they have peace once they know for sure what it is. But there are so many different ways to do investigations that it's so hard to find the right way, because there's a variety, other than teaching them respect, teaching them that you don't learn how to do it by watching a TV show.
Thank you.
Any of the TV shows, because the TV shows are entertainment. I mean, you can pick up some information, maybe learn about some equipment, but it's entertainment. That's what it's all about.
And it's a small bit of the actual full investigation. You're just seeing a tiny, tiny fraction of what hours and hours and hours of them investigating. And so you're missing a lot of
Absolutely.
it.
You are. People, they see what happens, boom, boom, boom on a show, and they go to a location and they go, oh, this is boring. Nothing's happened. Well, it doesn't happen on cue. You don't go in and demand, demand that there's a performance there. When I go to places, and like when I'm over in the Wells, you just have a conversation like somebody's there, and if they want to interact with you, that's their decision.
Right.
And
What gets
but
me
there's
is
also a lot of younger people that they don't want to read a lot. They don't want to go to conferences. They don't want to take classes. They go, I learned watching I watch on TV and learn how to do it, or I go to YouTube and they don't learn. Or if somebody calls them, I've had run into this several times. Somebody calls their team because they don't, they're just looking for somebody to come for help. And the team's all about, let's go ghost hunting. I don't hunt, I investigate. And so they want to go have a good time. That's what it's all about for them, not about the family, not about what's there. And if the family says something, they say, well, we're going to prove that what they say is true. Well, you have to go in, I wouldn't say necessarily even skeptical, but you are, because you need to go in with an open mind and be unbiased.
right.
Don't go in with a notion that it is or it isn't. You have to go in and take in everything, and then they'll go and they'll stir up everything if there is anything there, because I've done a number of investigations where I've had to go because some other team has come in and they've stirred everything up and then they made it worse. And then they never heard from the team again.
Oh,
They just went and got their they just went and got their jollies and left. They had their fun. It was fun. They played and then they're gone.
this is what fascinates me about some
Sorry, I've
of.
got a question.
Okay, just real quick. This is what fascinates me about the TV shows is when they go in the house and they yell at them, like when they died, they got deaf.
Or they whisper. The whispering cracks me up, because whispering, they can hear you. Your whispering ain't going to change that. So
Yeah.
Seriously, that is funny.
All right, what were you going to ask, Elizabeth?
Martha, do you think that these TV shows, these reality shows, where there have been so many investigations, do you think that is why some of the reactions where people are going on their own investigations get either more horrified or terrified because the spirits know, look, you're just jacking around with us and we're tired of your ass?
A lot of times the spirit knows you're coming.
Yeah. Well,
Ahead
your
of
kids
time,
know. Yeah.
And they know your intent, and they may not like your intent.
Exactly.
Can you imagine me as a ghost? Now think about this. Can you imagine me as a ghost and you walk into the house where I'm at and you're out there yelling at me and trying to act all creepy? What do you think I'm going to do?
I will hit you.
I'm going to kick your
with my
ass.
cane. I'll hit you with my cane. That's what I will do. I will whack you. I will whack you in the head with my cane.
But see, then they'll have an experience to go home with.
Yeah, then they'll come back. Never mind.
Well, you know what I want to talk about one time, Martha? What I want to talk about, because we're almost out of time today, I want to talk about how hard it is, or at least I think it's hard, sometimes to decipher who or what you're really dealing with, because let's just be real blunt. There are people, energies floating around. There are ghosts. It's in every major religious book out there about ghosts and spirits. And then there are things that are not people, and they come from other arenas, And
Like Jen.
yes, like Jen, depending on if you believe in angels, I don't know how you cannot believe in demons, because there's a yin and a yang there. So how do you, what was that a
Yin and
signal?
yang. Yes, yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
That's not a code. That's yes, yes.
Okay. I thought you were signaling me. Okay. So, how do people get trained? How do they get comfortable? And how do they gain confidence in knowing how they're, because I'm the professional skeptic. When I watch these shows, I'm like, they have no idea what they're dealing with there. That is not what they're dealing with. And they're fools. And I think that a lot when I'm watching some of these shows now. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, you also have to know, is that real or not? Because it's an entertainment show. So I have to watch all that with skepticism, to a certain point.
Well, I think we should talk about the dark and the light and how to decipher where these energies are and what they are sometimes. So maybe we'll do that on the next show or something. But Martha's going to be back every month. We'll be starting her new show pretty soon. If you have not seen her interview where she did the tour of the Haunted Hill House in Mineral Wells, go watch it. There is a section where a light flashes on all by itself. It's pretty interesting, pretty cool. In the middle of the day, so it doesn't have to be night to be spooky. So
That's TV. Yeah, that's TV. Got to
Yeah.
do it at night.
yeah, we like all the lights on when we do our investigations.
We're old. We're old.
We're old, we can't see, we fall down as it is. We don't need any ghosts pushing us on top of that.
Totally true. Totally true.
All right, Martha, it's always a pleasure to see you. I always love looking at your glasses. I feel very hip in 60s when I watch you with your glasses.
They are awesome. They are.
All right, babe. Thanks for coming on, and I'll talk to you in the next day or two.
Bye, Martha.
Bye, Martha.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Stay
See you next month. Bye.
All right. Let me. Do I need to? Oh, I need to stop this recording, not the other. Hang on. I almost did it reverse.
The recording has stopped.
Yay! It's only taken me 3 months to figure this out.
Yeah, well, there's hope yet.
I hope. Don't put the pressure on me.
There's always hope.
Don't put
There's
pressure on
always
me.
hope.
Don't put pressure on me. Don't you love how logical she is about something that's so illogical?
Yes.
I love that about her. I really
I think
do.
she'd be a really good teacher and teaching people the proper way of doing paranormal investigations. And a lot of your shows on TV do have that, and then some of them, they don't have that. And, you know, I really get angry when I see a show where somebody's going in there and going, why did you kill your daddy? Or whatever. And they have no proof of that, you know, but
No, it's like, tell me your story. Have you got a story? Is there something you want us to know? Now, and I do think that we need to talk about the ethics and integrity of doing something like this. But I was asked to go on a house tour last year, and they had documentation to sign. And one of the things is that you were not to mess with the spirits in the realm of, like, to try and cross them over. That's in violation of my belief system. So I couldn't go. And it wasn't that I was mad at those people or whatever, but I would be out of integrity with myself to sign that piece of paper and adhere to that if I felt there was a need to do that, you know. And I could have gone maybe, and it never came up, big deal. But I wasn't going to put myself in a position where I had to make that decision, since I already knew that that was the homeowner's desire to not have that happen. So, you know, what I think about that, it doesn't matter. They had a stipulation. I have a boundary. They didn't mesh, so I didn't go. And I don't think people even think that far ahead or in advance about things like that. I think it's like Martha was saying, they just want to go out there and get their jollies, you know, and ooh, and, you know, hold a flashlight under their chin and tell ghost stories, you know. So that didn't work for me.
It's hours of research. It's hours of boredom. It's hours of setup. It's hours of taking down. It is hours, days. Sometimes you have to plan a week or a month in advance just to get your team together. Who's got this experience or that experience? But the research is what makes it, so that you know what's going on, not just what is being said. Because a lot of times on these investigations, the homeowner may say, well, we heard this house was so-and-so and such and such. Have they done the work and investigation? No. They're strictly going by hearsay. So a lot of these incidents that are taking place, they're turning into a negative, which could actually be a positive and not this, ooh, boo, I'm trying to scare you. It's like, hey, I'm letting you know I'm watching over you. I'm trying to let you know I'm watching you from a, if you want to say angelic point, that's fine. But I found that really interesting what Martha said, and I have to remind myself, it's a TV show.
Yep.
right,
It is entertainment.
right.
Well, it's
but
just,
I do think the ones that do their
That is the
research
difference.
work, because it's so important that if you're going to do this work and somebody says, well, John was killed in 1902 by, somebody stabbing him or shooting him, And that's just that's hearsay. But these guys that go and do the research and actually find that information, and then when they go on in the house and investigate and they hear the name John, shot, then you can validate that. But that's hours and hours of work too.
Well, what's fun for me is that doing a paranormal investigation is no different than what I have been doing for 30 years in my private investigation business. You research, you prepare, you look for the things that can go right. Yeah. You look for the things that can go wrong. You anticipate that, and then you sit there for hours and do nothing. You sit there for hours and do nothing. And you wait.
You sit there and wait.
And I like the groups that have teams where some of you are sitting outside watching and you're talking and visiting or whatever, and while there's a pair of people inside doing it. And that way you're not in there the whole time, overwhelmed in the energy or exhausted or even getting bored, so you're taking turns. I like that idea. I don't want to go into a house and spend 8 hours in there. I want to be able to go in, do my thing, come out and take a break, and then maybe go back in again later. So I don't know. After this show today, because I've often thought about doing this work, but I don't know that I could do 8 hours of nonstop investigation by myself or even with one other person. I think it'd have to be 6 or 8 people in that team to really be able to do that.
Well, I think Martha has the right idea because she does do things by herself and then she does do things with small groups. But what she does is she just goes and she lives her life in that premise. And that's when you really get the best results. And, to sit there, what aggravates me is when I watch anything or I listen to people tell a story and you can tell that somebody got excited and then their energy hit a certain peak and then everybody just played off that energy. And you're like, you know what? You've just ruined all your credibility with me because I can't decipher what's real here as far as what your senses picked up and then what you manifested in your senses because you had so much energy pushing through the house, and there is a difference. And especially when you're dealing with 20 and 30 and 40-year-olds that don't have a lot of training, not that the age has anything to do with it, but it's about experience. If they've been doing it since they were 10, then of course they're experienced. But if you've just been doing this for 10 years, for 2 years and you bought your ghost kit on eBay, I don't know. I'm going to have a few more questions. So
it's true. That's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up because there are so many kits out there. And most, if not a majority, do not know how to even use them or what is the energy or what's the feedback or how do you actually really do a documentation. The only thing that I ever have an issue with, and it's a big issue with me, is when they're going through these places and all of a sudden they say, did you hear that? Did you hear that? They said boo. They said boo. And all of a sudden everybody says, yeah, I heard that. It was boo. I have a big issue with that. It's like you have to train yourself to go, did you hear that? Write it down.
Yeah. It's like those
say it to another individual.
Yeah, write it down. And those spirit boxes that they use.
Then go back and do your...
The spirit boxes really fascinate me, and I'm going to have to play with one for a while or something because, they have all this garbled noise on there, and I'm like, I hear things in that garbled noise. Why are they not picking up on that? And then they'll say, did you hear that? And they'll say, it said Sue was here. I'm like, I didn't hear that. And I'm not an auditory person. I'm visual first and then kinesthetic second. So auditory is my worst sense. And they'll say, I heard this on the spirit. I'm like, I didn't hear that. But the fact that I'm not auditory makes me a perfect investigator for the auditory side of the investigations because I'm not going to read into things unless it's really, really clear. And I think that that's something else that people don't think about. If you're kinesthetic, you need to be working on the visual machinery. If you're auditory, you need to be working through the kinesthetic energy fields. You put people, you put them on their worst senses, not your best, because you're going to be hypersensitive. So that's just how I would do it.
And that's part of the class that you need to know. What are your gifts? What are your gifts? And if you do not know what your gifts are, you're wasting the best opportunity possible to have the best experience possible. Now, I'm very auditory and I'm very visual. So I can hear things. I hear stuff. And the interesting thing about some of these shows is the same thing that you're talking about. I'm watching this. I'm getting absolutely nothing here.
And then I
I
watched
don't know
this.
what y'all are picking up, but I don't get a thing. There's nothing. I don't think there's really anything here. And they're going, oh my God, it's so and so and such, and this is like, I'm not feeling it. I just don't get that. Or did you hear that? And I'm going, that's a word.
Yeah.
I did not hear that.
Though I did watch
Yeah.
a show the other night, and they're like, I'm not picking up anything. I'm like, you need to get your shit out of there. I'm picking it up, you know?
and, what
and
now?
I'm like, oh my God,
need to leave.
how are y'all still alive?
Sometimes I think sometimes when you get nothing, that's your cue to leave.
Yeah.
When you get nothing, it's like, okay, you know what? They're saving your butt. You need to get out of here.
You know?
Y'all need to leave and leave now.
I started to get on the Google and send an email. Look, next time you do that, you need to call me immediately because y'all really screwed up.
That wasn't an investigation. That's not an investigation. Unless you walked a building, unless you've spent hours doing research, it is endless. It's tedious. It is incredibly boring. And then you have moments of absolute, oh my God, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then it's gone.
I always like walking to property and then researching it after the fact to validate what I pick up on. And I did a house in Highland Park a couple of years ago, and I was amazed at how much I got on the property and was able to validate all of it. And it was pretty sticky. It was sticky. And so when you're doing that by yourself, I recommend researching after the fact. But if you're going to work on a team, have one person do the research, but not share it with the rest of the team. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. You have it documented. Then after you go back, okay, here's your research. We found this and this and this and this. Who has this and this and this? Then let each person raise their hand. They don't necessarily have to tell you what they have. Just, did you get this? Did you get that? And then each person gets to say, this is what I picked up. This is what I wrote down. This is what I heard. This is what I saw. This is what I felt. This is what I could smell. Now that happened to me at the last investigation. And I kept smelling smoke. I said, there is smoke in here. And it feels like it's Native American, but I am smelling smoke in this building. And they're going, there was no fire here. Nothing was ever burned, blah, blah. Well, when you go and you look up the history, the Native Americans' property had been confiscated, and they really got mad, and they came back and they burned the barns, houses, and all of that.
Wow.
That was documented.
The only thing I hate,
just because.
The only thing I hate about houses where people are still living, and I'm still working on how to manage that for myself personally, is sometimes I pick up on things that are going to happen in the future. And when it's
that's an interesting thought.
And usually it's not really happy stuff, and you're like, okay, it's like knowing when a plane is going to crash. What good is that? You're not going to, unless it's like your own family plane and you're going to stop your family from flying, there's certain things you can't stop or prevent. And I hate getting information like that. I just hate. I walked a house, and I got the information that there was going to be a suicide there. And 6 months later, there was. I hate that. I hate it. To me, that is no good service. And I don't know why we would need to have that information. So I'm working on filtering, building up better filters.
That's another good topic. That's something really good to ask Martha as well. Does she get things that are future events? Because that is an issue as well.
Yeah, I've never asked her that. So
that's a brilliant question. I'm going to write that one down.
Write it down. But you're going to have to learn to raise your hand right, because you do these hand signal things all the time, and I never know what the hell you're doing.
Well, when you said yin and yang, that's kind of like when I'm talking as a teacher, I go the yin and the yang of it. It's yes or no.
Peace, non-peace. Peace, non-peace.
Peace, non-peace. Peace, non-peace. And today I'm very animated with my hands. I'm not sure why. I'm trying not to do that because it looks like I'm sending signals like, it's like, no. I'm hearing what you said. Try not to do that. I can't. I thought today was Friday. Don't, just bear with me. Seriously, bear with me.
Elizabeth, when is your show with Chuck Murphy about the paranormal exam?
It's going to be Wednesday, July the 15th, and it's a 2-hour special. We will be talking all about the different things. I mean, we started it last month when we were talking about some of this, and we've actually gone and had a couple of meetings since then, because he made a comment, about something that to me was very simple and it made sense. And then we went back and talked about it, and he said, I don't know that that's really such a good idea. I think we need to explain what we're actually picking up. And that's when we were talking about the extreme need for right now for protection, the extreme need to be trained, the extreme need to be knowledgeable, to be prepared, to do what Gail was talking about. You really need to have multiple people there, like some actually on location, maybe some not. I mean, it just depends on what you want to do. But the need for right now, because of the lockdown and because of the virus and because of so many negative things that are already predestined out there, you do need to be even more protected and more aware. So,
well, and the other thing,
2 hours, and once you get Chuck started,
he doesn't shut up.
Gosh, you just sit there and listen.
Yeah, he didn't shut up.
You sit there and listen, or laugh. Sit there and listen. I usually laugh because it's like, oh my God, yes, of course, that makes perfect sense.
I wish I could talk as much as Chuck, because I just really admire that.
Well, and he's got the voice for it, He does. And he's knowledgeable. He knows his stuff, but he also throws in humor, and that's what you have to do, especially when it's something this serious.
He's got to get his ass out of the closet, though.
I think we just have some of that humor went over our head.
He's got to get.
Well, he made a comment the other day. He said, "I really, I'm not trying to insult my gay friends, but I am in the closet." It was like, oh my gosh. He said, I am going to have to get out of the closet. I am going to have to go in the living room. And, but it's especially when you're doing, voiceovers, and he's respecting your space and your energy and those kinds of things. So, well, and he's got the voice for it.
The one thing that I would love to hear him and Martha both talk about on the different shows is about setting your intent before you enter the property. That changes everything. And and just so you know, because intent is so important in my world, one of the things that I do when I go and do a house blessing is that I wash the feet of everybody involved before I get started. That puts me into a spiritual realm that I can't get into easily any other way quickly. And it's a very humbling
washing of the feet.
It's very humbling.
It's very spiritual.
Very spiritual.
Cleansing.
And it puts me in perfect alignment with what my faith is about and what my intent is about. Right. And it freaks some people out, but I still make them let me do it. So.
It's like, oh God, now what is she going to do? Now she's going to give us a bath. Oh my God, now what?
So, but it's how do you set your intent? What do you do? Some people are fortunate enough they can set their intent by just making a statement in their mind. I need a little more physicality, hands-on, to set my intent for something that intense. So that's what works for me. So, well, that was exciting.
Awesome. Great show.
Are we done?
Excited.
So tomorrow it's just going to be us again, or not again, but just we don't have anybody for tomorrow, right?
I don't know. Do we?
I should take off.
I don't think we have anybody tomorrow.
Well, Betty's going to be gone.
I'm not going to be here.
Yeah, let's just take tomorrow off. Let's have a long weekend.
I like the Batman eyes.
Oh, only two.
I was like, what the hell is that?
That was the cat woman.
No, that's three eyes. That's including your third eye. Oh my God, that looks gross. Oh my God, how much drinking have you?
Do that anymore.
How much drinking have you done? Oh my God.
I'm not drinking.
Okay, so
I know it's so frightening.
All right, so real quick, let me go through this real quick, and then we'll let Gail close. Go check the YouTube channel, subscribe, go see the first video of the Sunny situation. It's Sunny doing her thing, and she's this is her introductory video. It's just funny. It's like watching a train wreck. Just go watch it.
She's so cute.
She is. She's adorable. I can't wait. She's doing more videos and sending them. You'll start seeing chapters from the fundamental laws of the universe up. Go and look at those. Maybe you can learn something. If not, you can make fun of me. We're going to be starting new shows. And if you've had an invitation to be in our new book, get your stories ready and get them sent in. And all the money from that book is going to the Council of Families for Children to pay for websites and books and things of that nature, unless you buy your own, and then you can sell them for whatever you want and do whatever you want to that money. So, but you can buy them at cost if you're in the book. So there you have it.
That's awesome.
I'm done.
It's an opportunity that is not to be, you don't poo-poo this off. Really, really seriously. Everybody that's been on the show has the opportunity to write a chapter.
It's the same.
On the show.
It's just like the Chicken Soup series. You know, a lot of times it's a great way to launch yourself as an author. If nothing else, it's another way to get your story out there.
Absolutely.
You know, and who knows? One day you may be famous too. So.
You never know. Look at us.
And you mean by us?
I'm infamous in my own mind.
Yes, look at us. Oh my God. How exciting. I'm available for Gatorade advertisements, so just let me know. Throw that out there.
I'm available for
we need to close.
Okay, wait a minute. I have to say this. If you're doing Gatorade, I'm going to do odor eater endorsements. Because of the foot washing?
Of course. Oh, God. Of course. Yes. Of course. That's.
Oh, wow. Okay, I think it's time to close.
Oh, my
We all agree?
Okay. We need tomorrow off. Can't you tell?
Yeah, we're taking tomorrow off.
If you don't see us on tomorrow, you'll know why.
Odor eaters. Odor eaters.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh man.
Okay, everybody.
Oh, I needed that. Thank you so very much.
Okay.
You almost cut me off. You almost cut me off and missed that wonderful moment. It was touching.
I know. I know. God. My intuition said to stop.
Yeah, it was wrong. Mark this on your calendar. Elizabeth Harbin's intuition was wrong today. Oh my God. I got to get out of this house.
Okay, I give up. Gail, please.
All
help
righty,
me
y'all.
here.
Thank you for sharing your time and energy with us at the Spiritual Neighborhood Lunch Bunch, your holistic hardware store.
Yay! That's the hammer. That's the holistic hammer. We're like Jim Adler. We're the hammer.
The Texas hammer.
Boom. We're the heaven hammer. The heavenly hammer.
Hey, everybody, this is without drinking. That's on Tuesday.
It's the holistic hammer. Boom.
Oh my God, I'm losing it. I am just losing it.
Oh, help me. Please. Let this in. Okay, I actually have a client at 1:30. I got to go. So, okay.
No one's stopping you.
At the Council of Families for Children to contact any of the hosts, Elizabeth, Deborah, or myself. Email us at spiritualneighborhood@gmail.com, and don't be shy to ask to be a guest on our show until we eat again, because it is lunch. Be safe and be whole, and thank you for joining us, and thank you, Martha. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.